Hey everybody, I hope everybody's having a really good week this week. So this week what I thought it would be fun to make is a panda pop-up card. This just says hello friend, and we did a panda on the front, and then we open it up and we have a panda with some bamboo behind it, and of course it sits like so. And then on the back I did a place where we can write a message. So if you would like, let's go ahead and head over to Design Space, and I'm going to show you how we're going to make this little fellow. I'll see you there. Okay, now that we're here in Design Space, let's go ahead and get started. Let's go to Shapes and get us a square. We're going to make it 10.5 by 6.5. Then we're going to go to Shapes and get a score line. We're going to make that score line 6.5 inches. If you grab them both and then go up to the top and click on Align Center, it will center it for us, and then we can go down to the bottom and click on Attach. Then my 4 pieces of pretty paper, we want them to be 5 by 6.25. And then we have our card base and our pretty paper, and we can group this and set it aside. Let's go to Shapes. We're going to get a square. We are going to make it 6.486 by 0.431. We're going to place the X at 1.338 and the Y at 2.317. Then we can get another square. We're going to make it 2.403 by 0.417. We're going to rotate it 345.29 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.13 and the Y at 1.228. Then we can right click, duplicate that square. We're going to rotate it 20.11 degrees. We're going to place the X at 5.367 and the Y at 1.014. Then let's go to Shapes. We're going to get an oval. We're going to make it 1.177 by 0.771. We'll rotate it 80.63 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1.59. Then we can duplicate that oval. We're going to rotate it 101.26 degrees. We're going to place the X at 7.298 and the Y at 1.572. Then once we have these pieces, I want you to right click, duplicate, and then we're just going to set this aside. We're going to need it for later. Now let's go to Shapes. We are going to get a square. We are going to make that square 4.278 by 0.639. We're going to rotate it 353.9. We're going to place the X at 1.943 and the Y at 1. Then we're going to grab it all and go down to the bottom and click on Weld. Then we're going to highlight it, go down to Contour, and hide all contours. And then we have this piece here. Now we're going to take this piece and we're going to adjust it. We're going to make it 15.049 by 1.997. We're going to place the X at 0.986 and the Y at 2.469. Then we're going to go to Shapes. We're going to get a square. We're going to make it 11.59 by 2.34. We're going to place the X at 2.681 and the Y at 1. Then we're going to go grab them both and go down to the bottom, and we're going to click on Slice. And we should have this piece here. I'm going to take this piece we just made. We're going to adjust it to 9.522 by 0.842. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1. Then we're going to go to Shapes. We're going to get a square. We're going to make it 8.945 by 0.544. We're going to place the X at 1.296 and then the Y at 1.739. Then we're going to grab them both and we're going to go down to the bottom and click on Weld. Okay, so this piece should now be 9.508 by 1.352. We're going to place the X and the Y at 1. I'm going to go to Shapes. We're going to get a triangle. We're going to make it 2.119 by 1.835. We're going to place the X at 4.678 and the Y at 1.811. Then we're going to grab them both and go down to the bottom and click on Slice. Go ahead and just set this aside for a moment. We go to Shapes. This is the number for this item here that we're going to need. It is free. So once we go ahead and get that item, you can grab it, and then we're going to go up to the top and ungroup. We can get rid of the red one, and we're going to keep this piece right here. What we're going to do with this shape is make it 0.789 by 3.063. We're going to place the X at 1.869 and the Y at 2.172. Then we're going to go to Shapes. We're going to get a half circle. We're going to make it 1.25 by 2.5. We're going to rotate it 89.55 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1. Then we're going to grab it both and then go down to the bottom and click on Slice. Then we should have a piece that looks like this. Now, I don't want you to get rid of that half circle. Keep it. We are just going to place the X and Y at 1. And then with this piece, what we're going to do is rotate it 180 degrees. And we're going to place the X at 1.272 and the Y at 2.22. And then we're just going to snip off this side of it. So we're going to grab them both, go down to the bottom and click on Slice. And then we have this piece here. Now let's get rid of this and keep this. Okay, now what we can do is go to Images and grab these. These are also free leaves. So go get that real quick. Then once we have it, we're going to highlight it, and then we're going to go down to the bottom and click on Contour, and we're going to get rid of the bigger leaf here. And we're just going to have this leaf right here. Then with this shape right here, we're going to right click, duplicate piece here. We need to duplicate it, and we're going to keep it the same size. We're going to place the X at 1.928 and then the Y at 6.875. Then we're going to duplicate it again, and we're going to place the X at 1.915 and then the Y at 3.931. We're going to place the X at 1.915 and the Y at 3.931. Then we can take our leaf here. We are going to right click, duplicate. Then we're going to make that leaf 0.713 by 1.637. We're going to rotate it 334.47 degrees. We're going to place our X at 5.153 and then our Y at 7.445. Then we're going to duplicate this leaf. We're going to adjust it and make it 0.876 by 1.367. We're going to rotate it 51.7 degrees. We're going to place the X at 5.173 and then the Y at 6.679. Then we can grab them both and go down to the bottom and click on Weld. And then we have this piece here. So what we're going to do is take that welded piece, place the X at 2.5 and the Y at 5.998. Let's grab all these three pieces. We're going to group them. Then we're going to right click, duplicate, and then we're going to weld it all together. And then we have this solid piece right here. Now we're going to take this piece, place the X at 1.873 and the Y at 1. We can duplicate our leaf again, right click, duplicate, go up to the top and flip horizontal. My X is at 0.986 and the Y at 3.123. Now we can grab these all and go down to the bottom and click on Weld. And then we have this piece here. Now you can keep these pieces, and if you want to add some to yours later that you might want to do differently than I did. Now this is going to be a template we're going to make. So if we go to Shapes and get a square, we're going to make it 8.611 by 5.278. We're going to place our X and our Y at 1. Then we're going to get a score line. We're going to make that score line 5.194. We're going to place the X at 4.792 and the Y at 1. Then we'll duplicate it, and then we're going to place the X at 5.792 and the Y at 1. Then we can grab it all and go up to the top and click on Weld. Then we're going to get this piece right here that we had set aside, and it should be 8.572 by 1.218, and we're just going to place it, try to get it in the center, but if it's not perfect, that's okay, but at the bottom of this. Then what we're going to do is get these two pieces that we made and set aside just a second ago. What we're just going to do is just set these in different places on our red piece here. Leaves go outside the square, that's okay. The more important part is don't bulk up your middle here where I have these two lines. Just basically going to place your pieces on here however you like. So once you have yours set up how you like it, then you're just going to grab it all, and then we're going to go down to the bottom and click on Weld. And then this is what it will look something like. Now once we have this all made, what we can do is go to Shapes. We're going to get a score line. We're going to make it 0.611. We're going to place the X at 6.067 and the Y at 5.134. Then we're going to duplicate that score line. We're going to make it 8.861 in height. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.681 and the Y at 5.764. Then we're going to grab it all and go down to the bottom and click Attach. And then we can move this piece aside. Okay, now let's go to Shapes. We're going to get a half circle. We are going to make it 0.847 by 1.694. We're going to rotate it 1.9 degrees. We're going to place the X at 2.324 and the Y at 3.25. Then we're going to duplicate it, and we're going to adjust that circle, half circle, to 0.847 by 1.694. We're going to rotate it 1.9 degrees. We're going to place the X at 2.032 and the Y at 3.292. Then I want you to grab them both and go down to the bottom, and we're going to click on Slice. And then we have this piece here. Now what I want you to do with this piece is we're going to adjust it. We are going to make it 0.785 by 2.583. And we can just set this piece aside for the moment. Remember this piece we set aside? Let's go ahead and get it. It should be 7.078 by 1.739. We're going to place the X at 1.042 and the Y at 2.627. Then this piece here, we're going to right click, duplicate. We're going to place the X at 5.539 and the Y at 1.111. Then we're going to right click, duplicate, then go up to the top, hit flip, flip horizontal. We're going to place the X at 2.816 and the Y at 1. Then we're going to go to Shapes. We're going to get a circle. We're going to make that circle 3.417 by 2.681. We're going to place the X at 2.824 and the Y at 0.694. Then we're going to grab it all and we're going to go down to the bottom and click on Weld. Then we're going to highlight it, go to Contour, and hide all contours. Then we have this piece here. What I'm going to do is duplicate this piece and set it aside. We'll need this for later. Then we're going to take our piece we have here and we're going to place our X at 1 and our Y at 1.681. Then we're going to go to Shapes. We're going to get a square. We're going to make it 1.861 by 0.903. We're going to place the X at 3.643 and the Y at 1. Then we can duplicate that square and adjust it to 2.069 by 0.764. We can place the x at 2.213 and the y at 2.611. Then we can right click, duplicate. We can place the x at 4.907 and the y at 2.625. Then we can go to shapes. We can get a pentagon. We can make it 1.825 by 1.736. We can place the x at 1.129 and the y at 4.292. Then we can right click, duplicate. We can place the x at 6.143 and the y at 4.333. Then we can grab it all and go down to the bottom and click on weld. Now our white piece should be 7.078 by 5.069. We have the X and the Y on one. We're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a score line. We're going to make the score line 4.333. We're going to place the X at 4.539 and the Y at 1.077. We're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a score line. We're going to make that score line 0.75. We're going to place the X at 2.831 and the Y at 2.618. Then we can duplicate that score line. We can place the X at 6.345 and the Y at 2.618. Then we can get another score line. We're going to make it 6.556. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.278 and the Y at 5.347. Then we're going to grab it all and go down to the bottom and click on attach. Now let's get this extra piece that we set aside. We're going to position the X and the Y on one. Then we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get an oval. We're going to make that oval 3.736 by 2.142. We're going to place the X at 2.74 and the Y at 1.333. Then we're going to grab it all and go down to the bottom and click on slice. Then we have this piece here, and what we're going to do is go to contour, and we're going to hide this moon shape piece here. This piece here, we're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1.188. Then we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a square. We're going to make it 0.028 by 3.486. We're going to rotate it 329.9 degrees. We're going to place the X at 2.465 and the Y at 1. Then we can right click, duplicate. We're going to rotate it 32.01 degrees. We're going to place the X at 4.832 and the Y at 1.169. Then if we grab both of those we just made, go down to the bottom, click on weld, and then grab it all and then go and click on slice. Highlight this piece and go to contour, and we're going to get rid of the legs. And then our white piece here fits right on top like so. We're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a rectangle. We're going to make it 1.654 by 0.361. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.669 and the Y at 2.755. Then we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get an oval. We're going to make that oval 0.788 by 1.128. We're going to rotate it 327.67 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.029 and the Y at 1.756. Then we're going to go to shapes and get another oval. We are going to make it 0.471 by 1.668. We're going to place the X at 1.514 and the Y at 0.986. Then we're going to right click, duplicate. We're going to rotate that one 29.35 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.695 and the Y at 1.542. Then we can grab it all and go down to the bottom and click on weld. And then we have this piece here and just set it aside. Now we're going to go to shapes. We are going to get an oval. We're going to make that oval 2.264 by 0.958. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1.194. Then we can right click, duplicate that oval. We're going to make it 2.528 by 1.028. We're going to place the X at 1.208, Y at 1.125. Then let's go to shapes. We're going to get a circle. We're going to make that circle 0.431 by 0.431. We're going to place the X at 3.389 and the Y at 1. Then we're going to go to shapes and get an oval. We're going to make it 0.764 by 0.431. We're going to rotate it 52.59 degrees. We're going to place the X at 3.435 and the Y at 1.123. Then we're going to grab it all and go down to the bottom and click on Weld. Now we need to right click, duplicate, and then flip horizontal. Now we're going to get our leaf, our bamboo piece we made and set aside. We're going to make sure it's 1.58 by 3.422. We're going to place the X at 2.907 and the Y at 1. Then we're going to get our arm we made. We're going to make sure it's 3.013 by 1.139. We're going to rotate it 29.74 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 2.102. Then we can right click, duplicate, flip horizontal. We're going to rotate it 321.13 degrees. We're going to place the X at 3.704 and the Y at 1.755. Click on this arm and click on your other arm, and then we're going to go up to the top and click Group. Then we're going to right click, duplicate, and then we'll just set this aside. Then we're going to grab it all and go down to the bottom and click on Weld. This piece I'm going to keep green, and this piece, if you want, you can weld it. You don't have to, but if you weld it, when you cut your top piece on, which will be black arms, or whatever color you choose to make your panda's arms, and it will look like he's holding the bamboo, and we get to have our bamboo green and our arms the color we want. So then we can grab this piece and move it aside. Okay, now the first thing we need to do is make some pieces here. So let's go to shapes. We're going to get a half circle. We're going to make the peach half circle, the back one, 3.053 by 6.105. We're going to rotate it 181.07 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.999 and the Y at 1.333. Then we can duplicate that half moon. We're going to make it 3.498 by 6.996. We're going to rotate it 180 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1. Then we're going to grab them both and then go down to the bottom and click on Slice. And then we should have this piece here that looks like that. We can move these aside, and the next thing we're going to do is go to Shapes. We're going to get another half circle. We're going to make the purple one 1.925 by 3.851. We're going to rotate it 257.44 degrees. We're going to place the X at 2.885 and the Y at 3.312. Then we can right click, duplicate. We're going to rotate this pink one 257.44 degrees. We're going to place the X at 2.913 and the Y at 2.951. Then we're going to grab them both and then go down to the bottom and click on Slice. And then we should have a piece that looks like this. Go to Shapes. We're going to get a circle. We're going to make it 9.161 by 6.295. We're going to place the X at 1.041 and the Y at 1. Then this purple piece we made and set aside, we're going to take it, we're going to adjust it to 4.089 by 2.131. Then we're going to rotate it 341.2 degrees. We're going to place the X at 5.698 and the Y at 5.473. Then this peach color piece. This one, it is going to say the exact same size. We're going to place the X at 7.83 and the Y at 1.55. Then let's go get this and duplicate it again. We're going to adjust it to 2.866 by 6.678. We're going to rotate it 130.9 degrees. We're going to place the X at 0.986 and the Y at 2.973. Then I want you to grab it all and go down to the bottom and click on Weld. Let's go to Shapes. We're going to get an oval. We're going to make it 9.518 by 5.224. We're going to place the X at 3.593 and the Y at 2.884. We're going to get another oval. We're going to make it 9.556 by 5.245. We're going to place the X at 3.838 and the Y at 3.782. Then I want you to grab them both and then go down to the bottom and click on Slice. Then this is the piece that we have that we want to keep. Now we're going to go to Shapes. We should keep this on the same spot, which is 3.606 for the X and the Y is 2.884. Then we're going to get a square. We're going to make that square 1.472 by 1.931. We're going to place the X at 2.991 and the Y at 5.56. Then we're going to grab them both and go down to the bottom and click on Slice. And this is the piece that we want to keep. Now let's get this blue shape that we just made. It should be 9.356 by 7.217. I have the X at 1.014 and the Y at 1.119. Then this piece that we just made, it is 9.518 by 2.676. We're going to place the X on 1.218 and the Y on 0.968. Then we're going to grab them both and go down to the bottom and click on Slice. Now we're going to get rid of this purple piece right here. And then we can just grab it all and go back down to the bottom and click on Weld. And then we have this piece. Now let's highlight this, go to Contour, and hide all contours. Now with our purple piece here, we're going to make sure it's on X and Y are on 1. Then we are going to go to Shapes. We're going to get an oval. We're going to make it 2.898 by 2.048. We're going to rotate it 337.98 degrees. We're going to place the X at 6.534 and our Y at 6.168. Then we're going to grab them both and go down to the bottom and click on Weld. And then we have this piece here. It's head aside, and we are going to go to Shapes. We're going to get a pentagon, and then we're going to go to Shapes again, and we're going to get an oval. The oval we're going to make 3.462 by 2.446. We're going to rotate it 111. We're going to place the X at 1.128 and the Y at 1. Then with that pentagon, we are going to make it 3.293 by 3.133. We're going to rotate it 24.13 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1.016. Then we're going to grab it all and go down to the bottom and click on Slice. We're going to get rid of this piece. And then we're going to click on the peach piece. And once we click on that, we're going to go to Contour, and we're going to get rid of this piece right here. Now what we're going to do is grab all 3 of the pieces that are left and go down to the bottom and click on Weld. Now what we're going to do is bring our panda head back over. We're going to place the X at 1.748 and the Y at 2.32. Then we're going to take our ear. We're going to right click, duplicate. Then once we duplicate it, we're going to adjust it. We're going to make it 2.28 by 2.498. We're going to rotate it 10.66 degrees. We're going to place the X at 7.972 and the Y at 1. Then we're going to come back to the ear again. Here we're going to right click, duplicate. We're going to adjust this ear to 2.336 by 2.884. We're going to rotate it 291.75. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 2.912. Now that we have these in position, I want you to grab this ear and then hold your shift key and grab this ear, and then I want you to group them. Then we're going to right click, duplicate, and we're going to go down to the bottom and we're going to click on weld. That way they'll be in position of what we need them to be when we go to cut them out. We'll grab these 3 pieces and go down to the bottom and click weld. Now let's go to shapes. We're going to get a half circle. We're going to make it 1.275 by 2.678. We're going to rotate it 268.68 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.018 and the Y at 1.549. Then we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get an oval. We're going to make that oval 1.275 by 2.678. We're going to rotate it 268.68 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.018 and the Y at 1.54. Then we're going to grab them both and then go down to the bottom and click on weld. And this is his nose. And you can adjust it. I have it at 1.482 by 1.019. Okay guys, so let's go ahead and finish up our bear piece. So first what we can do is get our ear, and then we can right click, duplicate it. Then we're going to make it 0.593 by 0.577. We're going to rotate it 12.14 degrees, and this one will go on this side of his face. Okay, then let's right click, duplicate that ear again. We're going to adjust it to 0.695 to 0.711. We're going to rotate it 350 degrees. Then what I did is I have 3 circles here. The black one is going to be 0.126 by 0.135. The blue one, it is 0.218 by 0.233. And then the white one is 0.321 by 0.321. And then the blue goes inside the white, and then the black piece goes inside of the blue. And then we can group it together. And then we can just right click, duplicate for your other side over here. Now for his paw, if we will go to shapes and we get an oval, and if we make that oval 2.376 by 1.4, we're going to place the X at 1.857 and the Y at 2.226. Then you can right click, duplicate. We're going to adjust it to 2.177 by 1.538. We're going to rotate it 320.61 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.38 and the Y at 2.431. Then we can right click, duplicate. We're going to rotate it 239.08 degrees. We're going to place the X at 2.867 and the Y at 2.522. Then we can get an oval. We can make it 1.09 by 0.771. Rotate it 68.77 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1.558. Then we can right click, duplicate. We're going to rotate it 84.63 degrees. We're going to place the X at 2.028 and the Y at 1.014. Then we're going to duplicate it. We're going to rotate it 95.59 degrees. We're going to place the X at 3.185 and the Y at 1. Then we're going to duplicate it one more time. We're going to rotate it 127.15 degrees. We're going to place the X at 4.099 and the Y at 1.509. Then we can grab it all and go down to the bottom and click on Weld. And then we have our little paw print here. And these you can adjust just to fit inside his foot. Then our last little piece is going to be our mouthpiece. If we go to shapes and we get a heart, the bottom heart we're going to make 2.001 by 1.768. We're going to rotate it 180 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.417 and the Y at 1.333. Then we could duplicate that heart, but we're going to make this one 2.192 by 1.937. We're going to place the X at 1.323 and the Y at 1.054. Then we can grab them both and go down to the bottom and click on Slice. If you have all your pieces on top of your panda body like so, and then you grab it and group it together, your panda body should be 5.478 by 3.945. The same thing for the head. If you have everything on it and then group it together, your head should be 2.825 by 2.429. And the same with the arms. If you put your black arms on top of the green piece, it should be 3.497 by 2.249. And then the last thing we need to do is I'm going to put my head on 1 and 1 for the X and the Y. Then we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a score line. We're going to make it 1.865. We're going to place the X at 2.661 and the Y at 1.378. Then we can grab the score line and the head and then go down to the bottom and click on Attach. Then we can grab the rest of it and click on Group. So here are all the basic pieces we're going to need to make this pop-up card. Don't forget to go up and save. And if you would like to add any additional pieces to it, go ahead and do that. So why don't we go ahead and cut our pieces out, and then I'll meet you back at the craft table. I'll see you there. Okay guys, so now that we're here at the table, what we can do is go ahead and work our score line and put our pretty pieces of paper on. So let's do that. Now that we have our pretty paper on, what we can do is go ahead and put our I cut out 2 of these just to make it sturdier. You don't have to, so I'm going to go ahead and glue these 2 pieces together. So now what we can do is get our panda and put our face and other things on our panda if we haven't done so. Okay guys, now that we have all of our pieces on our panda, what we can do is we can work the score line on the head if you haven't, and then work the score line on our panda. And then of course our score line on our panda goes, we will line it up with the score line on the center of the body of the panda. I think about right there for me, I'm okay with. So I'm just going to put a little glue on this tab and then place my panda head down. So that's what it's looking like. And then for the arms are going to be glued to these tabs here. And we need to fold the center of this piece, and it's going to be a mountain fold. So we fold these tabs in like so. You can fold them back out. And I'm just going to trim mine because corners, because I don't want it to be seen. You don't have to do this. So that's, I just snip the corners of these. And then we're just going to put a little glue on it and adhere it to it like so. And then the same thing on this side of the arm. And this is how it's going to fold up in our card. So the arms are going to stretch out like so. Okay. Now our panda is going to go about an inch off the bottom of our card. So I'm going to go ahead and work the legs of these score lines. And you want to make sure our score line of our center of our panda is in the score line of our card. Okay, so I have my tape on my leg here on the bottom, and what I'm going to do is line him up about an inch off the bottom of my card and make sure the center is in the center of my score line. And then once I think I have the leg where I want it, which I think that's about an inch off, I'm just going to push it down like so. So that's now adhered. Now what we can do is fold this panda down, put tape or glue on the bottom, and fold our card too. And there we have our panda. Panda, 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 panda. Okay. You can't really see him how he's sitting. I'm facing this way so you can see him. Now for our bamboo, it's just going to sit behind it. And it's probably about a quarter inch away from the back of it. So before we put it down, let's go ahead and work this score line and then the bottom score line here. Our tab that we have to hold it up, it's going to be going just like I have it here. Okay. And you can put this anywhere behind the panda. You just want to make sure that it's not going outside of your card. And again, most important thing is line your score line up inside your score line of your card. But about right there is where I'm going to put it. So you can see there's not that much space between his tab of his leg to the back of this. And because it folds down like this, you're gonna have to, you're not gonna be able to fold it like this and put your tape on, because the bear is going to hit it. So what I do is just put a little glue or tape down, whatever you're using, on the bottom. I'm going to take my tape off on one side. And just line it up to where I would like it to sit. Making sure my score line is in the score line of my card. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Then once I have it taped down, I'm just going to give it a fold to make sure everything is folding right. And there we have it. Now what I'm going to do is finish decorating, and then I'll be back to show you what I come up with. Okay guys, so this is what I came up for this card. It says life is better with you. And then we open it up. We have our panda and our bamboo, and he's holding a piece of bamboo. And then back here it says miss you. And then on the back we have a place to write a message, and I just did a panda holding the card. Have you guys ever wondered how pandas cook their dinner? They use pan, duh. Guys, I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by and crafting with me. Don't forget to stop by next week to see what's popping and dropping. Bye.